Hello everyone, this is Dawn over at Plot Chronicles. Today I wanted to share with you guys two things that drives me insane about books and waste time. Let's get started and talk about it. Okay, the first thing, and I've noticed that several books do this. Let me ask if any of you have experienced this. Okay, I've had a lot of books, and this doesn't bother me because then you just give up the book. So let's say a book, it doesn't matter what kind, mystery, thriller, romance, doesn't matter what, fiction book, okay? Let's say that it's 500 pages and you start to read it, and in the first 75 you're just bored, and so you DNF it. You don't finish it, right? Okay, and we'll say that's a thriller, not a big deal. This is the thing that drives me nuts, and I've noticed a lot of books do this. There'll be 500 and some pages. We'll take a thriller, and I'm actually going to do a couple video on what books I can't recommend on the next one. And what drives me insane is when it starts off strong and you get engrossed and engaged. We'll say it's a thriller, and it gives you all sorts of little like plot twists and things, and you want to find out what happens. And so you get engaged and interested in the first 150 pages, okay? And so we're going to say it's a 500-page book, right? So that means you have 350 more pages to read. All of a sudden, it starts drying up and lagging. So you've already invested that 150, maybe 200 pages where you're like, wow, this is engaging, this is interesting. But then the next 200 or 250 pages is dry and boring. You've already invested that 150. It's kind of like you're watching a season of a show that you really like, and you're engaged in it, you want to find out what happens, and maybe you're like 6 episodes in, and maybe they have 12 episodes, but all of a sudden it gets really dry and boring, and it just kind of drags. That's the word I want to use. That drives me insane. I can think of a lot of books like that drag in the middle. To me, that is like the worst punishment. It's almost like listening to someone talk that makes a short story long. Have you guys ever had that experience where they tell you every detail and you're like, oh my gosh, for someone like me who has no attention span, that's like punishment. But anyway, my friends tell me I hop from subject to subject. I like a little bunny rabbit. I go, bloop, bloop. Anyway, off topic. But basically, I have books like that, and then you're like, but you don't want to give up the book because you want to find out what happens at the end. But then you got to try to muddle through that middle part, maybe 150. Honestly, that to me is one of the worst things ever. That's number one. Number two, and I could actually give 3 things. I'm going to say 3 things. Number 2, another thing that just drives me insane is when it's a confusing plot and I just don't understand what's going on. And basically, you never find a resolution. There's no resolution, no good ending, and you don't understand what's going on. It's like a mind-boggling, like, what just happened? And number 3, I'm going to add 3 things. There's too many characters, and it's all over the place. So those are the 3 things that drive me insane in a book. Do those 3 things bother you? And one of you wrote a very thoughtful comment. I love the comments over on this channel that you said, hey, Dawn, I really like these certain books. You had made a comment about the book James, and you explained in really good detail why you liked it, and said, hey, it wasn't easy to read, but this is why I liked it. And you went into details. And some of you have even said, hey, you appreciate that I say, this book wasn't for me, because I explained my personality to say, I'm not maybe a seasoned reader where I read more challenging materials. That's the one downside of reading thrillers and mysteries, is you're used to things that have a wow factor. So then if you try to read something that tends to be a longer book, tends to be slower paced, you don't always have the patience for it. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'd love to hear all of your feedback in the comments below. I do read every comment. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming over here. I really appreciate it. I am very thankful to this community, and just share any comments you want in the comments below. That's all I have to say for now. I love you, I appreciate you, and I sure hope you come back for tomorrow's video. Bye, everybody.